Once a cheater, always a cheater.
My name is Cory Sandhagen, a 135er in the UFC. I'm from Aurora, Colorado, the same town as my home gym, High Altitude Martial Arts. Christian was the top dog at High Altitude when I first signed up, so of course he already had this kind of aura around him. And then I think he kind of saw me as that kid that he wanted to make an impact on, and he did.
I'm Christian Allen. I've been with the team since it was founded. Cory first came to High Altitude. He was pretty quiet, didn't really stand out that much, till there were a few interactions where we kind of tech sparred together. And I was definitely impressed. In a way, kind of saw a little bit of myself in him and wanted to reach out a little bit with the mindset that if I had somebody like me back then, things would have been a lot different. And that was the point when we started doing private lessons.
Yeah, me and Christian's relationship has changed a lot, obviously. It kind of started as like, hey, you're my instructor. Hey, you're a little bit of my mentor. And then, you know, a couple of years go down the line, I get a little bit older, we're a little bit less training partners, and it kind of becomes like, oh, now we're becoming really good friends, but you're still my coach.
It's been a good relationship, and he's also very similar as far as body type and kind of the things that he likes in fighting, so it was real easy to pass on, you know, information. We're similar in a lot of ways, you know.
I think more than anything what Christian did for me is he gave me a mind that can think really creatively, and it can be a free thinker. He's been a huge part of it, because of that aura, but also because he really took me under his wing from, you know, when I first started.
The thing that makes him special is something you can't explain, and I think that's our bond too. Like, it's an understanding without describing in any way. You either got it or you don't. And when you feel that with somebody, you realize that you're kind of meant to be around and to be there for each other.
My day one here was with Christian, and you know, we just got done training again, and it's 11, 12 years later, so not a lot of people get that, so I try to, you know, keep my gratitude about that. I think not a lot of fighters are coaches also. For me, I mean, I've been at High Altitude, you know, for a really long time now, so it would feel wrong of me if I wasn't being a part of the guys that are coming up too. I remember me and Christian had a conversation one time where it was like, we really got to start focusing on the amateurs a little bit more.
All right, let's hit it.
Like, I can do it, but is there any way that I can maybe get paid a little bit for it? Well, and this was before the UFC too, but Christian looks at me and he was like, man, coaching amateurs is something that you have to do, and you get paid by like the love that you get from watching them win. And I was like, okay, I guess that's what I have to do now.
He's a good training partner, but a lot of these guys really look up to Cory. Like, it's not just fighting. He has his head on straight, and it's obvious to, you know, to everyone he's doing things right. They want to, you know, be around him as much as possible so they can also get a little bit of that, you know, being in the presence of greatness makes more greatness, you know.
I mean, he brings a lot to the room, right? He's one of the veteran fighters now, so the young guys have something to look up to, especially that squad of little ninjas that are training at High Altitude. I think he's a decent role model for those young guys.
For the guys that I can be there for, I try to really be there for, and I try to, you know, be that person that Christian was for me. It can sometimes feel like a lot, but I love them, and I got to take care of them, and that's what it is.
I've trained with the team for a little over 2 years now. Me and Cory's relationship has grown a lot, and I consider him a brother. I think we're like two sides of a puzzle that, like, when we put it together, like, I can complete his game, he can complete my game a little bit. I learned a lot from him. He's such an easy guy to work with, and I want to see him be successful.
Before sparring, I know I get really intense, and I know it can kind of, from the outside, be like, that guy's a little bit strange, but that's what I need to do, because sparring can be a huge opportunity for you to rehearse what you're going to do on that fight night. Yeah, fighting Aljamain was obviously not my best showing of who I am. Me losing that night was my fault, and honestly, something that gets me going if I don't feel like getting myself to doing a visualization or getting myself to the point where I know I need to be before sparring or before practice or whatever, I always remind myself, like, remember all those sleepless nights? Remember like you crying in the hotel room? We're not doing that again. So, and I'll look across the cage and I'll see my future opponent, and I'll remind myself that this guy wants to have a party for knocking me out. And I need to get to that level of intensity because I know that that's what fight night level intensity is. And if you're not used to being in that fire, that thing will burn you.
Some days like today, like he's just on alert. You could tell he's feeling good, and he's almost untouchable. Throughout camp, we want to stay healthy, and we want to make it to the fight with that. You know, wide-eyed and reactive and in the moment.
You know, it can be frustrating because he's so good. You know, he's just so athletic. He's a 35er and I'm a 55er, so he's so much faster than me. There's days where I'm just like, I'm going to use my strengths against him because he's a lighter guy. But then there are also the days where it's like, he's so much faster and he's super technical, where our relationship, we can expose each other's holes. And I think that's where the growth comes.
Every single fight, we're stepping into the fight with techniques that I don't even have, and I have 5 black belts. I've been doing this forever, and new stuff happens every single time. That's why I still do this, you know. That's evolution.
I've been around Cory for 12 years, and it's been cool coming up and having him, you know, come up with me. It's been fun, man. It's been crazy is what it's been.
The years go by really quick in this sport, so I don't even really know how long ago it was that me and TJ were training together. Probably maybe 5 or 6 years ago. You know, we were main sparring partners. I don't really have any ill will towards TJ. I think TJ is just a person who I'm fighting next, and he's going to get treated the exact same way as everyone else, and that's who he is to me now.
He's younger, faster, stronger, more explosive.
I think that's going to be a good match. Fans should be ready, you know. There's going to be a lot of dynamic striking going on, and I believe Cory's going to win by KO.
The sport is at a point where, like, if you're not progressing every single time that you go out there, then it's just you're gonna drown. You know, I take a lot of time doing my meditations, doing my visualizations, doing the things that don't necessarily make my body super tired, so that I can kind of keep up and be the world-class champion that I know that I can be. And when I see other people doing and chasing the exact same thing as me, there's a mutual connection there where it's like, hey man, I get it, you know, because not a lot of people get it. It's not something that is relatable. And so when you're in a room full of guys that want that, it just makes it a little bit easier. It's all of those things are much easier when you have people that you can talk to that have been through it.
I think Cory is the best in the world, you know. A lot of people don't really realize how good he is, you know. But being in the gym with him, you see everything. You see what the future of MMA is.
I remember about 2 years ago, I was in the car with Curtis Blades, and he's like, who do you think, you know, out of me, you, and Cory, who do you think will get the strap first? I was like, yeah, I think Cory has the best chance. He's a little crazy, but you got to be crazy to be in the sport. You know, none of us are not crazy. He's embraced it as an adult, so it's pretty fun to watch.
He'll be the champion of UFC. He'd be able to hold on to that as long as he stays motivated, you know. As long as that's what he wants to do, he's going to be the best at it.
Colorado, I didn't appreciate it enough when I was growing up. You know, Aurora isn't like a mountain town. It's like a suburby type of place. So that's where I grew up, man. I didn't really fall in love with the mountains until maybe I was 22, 23.
Speed kills, so that's what we gonna do. Easy win. It's gonna be an easy win.
Saturday is the team's game day.
That's it.
This week we're doing spike ball. Everyone is like the same level, if not that good, so it can get really competitive.
I enjoy having Cory as a part of like my life, my journey, and he's grown so much since I've known him. He's figured out how to balance outside life, fight life, training, camp. I think that he's a great human being. One of the things that I like most about him is he has a healthy competitive spirit.
It's interesting because martial arts is, you know, I go out there on my own, but that isn't what makes me good. What makes me good is the guys that I'm training with back here, and I consider a lot of my teammates some of my closest friends in my life, and we've been together for years and years and years, and I know that I try to be there as much for my teammates as they are there for me. I love my team, man. I've been on the same team for 12 years. I love these guys, and I like to think that they love me a little bit back.
not trying to touch you. Shake my hand. You go. That's all you get.
Loser.
Oh.
Watching some fights.
Yes, sir.
I'll definitely have the belt probably by this time next year, but I think that obsessing over that thing is the number one way to drive yourself crazy for no reason. I said after my last loss, I'm not losing anymore because losing sucks. So call it as unrealistic as you want, but my mentality is I'm not losing any more fights in this sport.